Christine Gutlebenbecker is a businesswoman and mom of 3. And like a lot of American shoppers, she's gotten used to not finding everything she wants at the grocery store anymore.
In some ways, shopping feels like an experiment.
This week, we look into what's behind those empty shelves across America.
For years, Intel officials and members of both parties have warned that China is America's most serious global threat.
It's been reported that China has conducted tests on soldiers to develop soldiers with some kind of enhanced biological capabilities.
Let me be clear, it's that they literally want to create super soldiers and almost like the superhuman race.
This week, one congressman raises some startling specifics.
In the heart of oil country, the Texas twang is interrupted by an altogether different sound. In this tiny town, nearly half the people are Mennonites.
What is the message out of all of this?
We work for our status here.
We're in Seminole, Texas, for a different immigration story.
Welcome to Full Measure. I'm Sharyl Attkisson. Today we begin with a bit of a mystery. Why, more than a year into the COVID-19 pandemic, are some products still hard or impossible to find at the grocery store, even those seemingly unrelated to pandemic necessities? Lisa Fletcher looked into the question and found it has a lot to do with America's surprisingly fragile supply chain.
Christine Gutlebenbecker is a businesswoman and mom of 3 in Washington, D.C.'s northern suburbs. After making the weekly run to the grocery store, she's become used to the new reality for consumers everywhere.
In some ways, shopping feels like an experiment. What are we going to get? What can we make with what we're going to get? And it feels par for the course, I think, in these times, almost normal.
The new normal means missing items, sometimes empty shelves.
Have you noticed that your choices have diminished in terms of the same type of product with different brands or multiple types of product within a brand?
Yes, absolutely. So today I couldn't get my favorite tortilla brand, and I actually realized that I haven't been able to get it, I think, for the past year. And so we've learned to just accept other types of tortillas, and it feels like a small price to pay.
Tortillas are just one of the many products that have seen dramatic sales increases thanks to COVID. In the first 6 months of the pandemic, February to August, the products that saw the biggest jump in sales were hand sanitizer, up 838%, soaps up 65%, and disinfectants up 61%. But staple food items also saw big rises as consumers rushed to fill their pantries with staples, canned goods, and baking supplies. Overall grocery spending up 14% since the start of the pandemic.
Did you go through a period of frustration and then sort of acceptance of all of this?
In normal life, we got really used to our very specific products and the things that we loved, and that was really great. But we've learned to adapt, and most of us are not finding the things that we loved, and that feels very appropriate for these times.
But how did the retail structure that usually means we never see an empty shelf or missing product break down so quickly?
I think it started happening long before we ever started to see store shelves being empty.
Professor Brian Gibson is the executive director of the Center for Supply Chain Innovation at Auburn University in Alabama.
So we know those products that everybody grabbed for immediately because that we were just living in this big unknown. But how did that rapid transition from everything to nothing affect the supply chain globally?
You start to see raw material suppliers in foreign countries where the pandemic hit earlier. They're closing down facilities. They're telling everybody to stay at home. So pretty soon your raw materials and your components and all your supplies are slowing down on their flow into the United States. And that ultimately catches up because a lot of companies have gotten very lean over the last 20 years.
For manufacturers, being lean means only storing the parts and components you need right now, relying on 24/7 supply chains to deliver new inventory just at the right time. It saves billions in storage, but it means any glitch in the chain and things stand still. Supply chain disruption is nothing new. If you've ever lived in a place that's experienced a natural disaster like a hurricane, you know what it's like when everybody dashes out to pick up the same supplies. The grocery store, the hardware store, they empty out fast. What made the pandemic different is that the same thing was happening in every city, in every country around the world at the same time. And the supply chain, no matter how well designed, couldn't possibly keep up with the demand. Walk me through the different chapters of that since the pandemic began.
So I think early on in the pandemic, it was issues of the PPP, the personal protective gear, the masks, the sanitizer, home products, because people didn't know how long they were going to be at home. So, toilet paper, cleaning products, paper towels. There were reports of meat packing plants having problems with COVID and making people nervous. They see it on the news and I got to go out and buy some chicken. I got to go out and buy steak. And I go out and fill up my freezer.
Producers have responded by trying new tactics to make their limited resources and factory capacity go further.
One thing that the companies have done to try and speed up that process is they've cut back a little bit on the variety. So instead of making 6 different varieties of toilet paper and 12 different packaging sizes, let's focus on, 2 brands in our portfolio and go to 4 or 5 packaging options.
But while consumers may be learning to live with less, the pandemic has meant a boom for online retailers and delivery services like UPS, which delivered 6.3 billion packages last year, an increase of 13.7%. And FedEx last summer saw a 31% rise in deliveries, leading the company to predict that by 2023, 100 million parcels will be shipped each day in the U.S., growth that's 3 years ahead of what was predicted before the pandemic. And with the majority of products coming into the country in giant steel shipping containers like this, the pandemic has also meant a boom for America's ports. Here in Baltimore, business has been growing for the last 11 months, with imports and exports moving through the port increasing 10%. So how's business been at the port?
Business has been really good.
William Doyle is the executive director of the Port of Baltimore. How much has e-commerce spiked your business here at the port?
Tremendously. Since July, we've had at least 18 unscheduled rotation container ships come through the port. And that's the equivalent of approximately 30,000 containers that we wouldn't have ordinarily had.
At some other ports, there are so many ships coming in, it's taken days or weeks to unload them. And now a new shortage that's impacting global trade, not enough empty containers.
There is a shortage of containers overseas. So we do move empty containers through the Port of Baltimore on the ships back to the loading ports in Asia and Indian subcontinent.
Experts say the massive increase in e-commerce as a result of lockdowns is likely permanent. But what about other changes? What happens now?
I've read a lot, put it this way. Pundits saying, we're going to fundamentally change how we operate supply chains. We're going to bring everything back to the United States, everything near shore. We're going to do this and this and this. And we've talked to companies and they've said, no, we're not going to do a wholesale change of our supply chain, but we're going to be smarter. And we're going to start off with coming up with better contingency planning.
For Christine and countless other parents, the pandemic has changed buying habits with little expectation things will ever be the same.
I think most moms are shifting to online, and I think we're so busy and focused on our kids and schooling that we don't notice that things don't arrive when we order them. So as long as we have some kind of milk and some kind of fresh produce, we just keep moving forward.
And just as we're learning to live with change and disruption at the grocery store, the supply chains that link modern commerce are also learning and adapting, making them stronger in the future.
I was wondering, because I'm running into all kinds of weird products, that answers a lot of questions.
Yep.
Is there any hope for a solution?
Well, in the short term, there's still going to be shortages of things like masks and first aid items because of high demand. But in the longer term, President Biden has ordered a review of the global supply chain for everything from computer chips to food. And the White House is really encouraging more domestic production, but they haven't exactly laid out the plan for how we're going to do that.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Yeah. Coming up on Full Measure, is China trying to genetically engineer super soldiers? For years, Intel officials and members of both parties have warned that China is America's most serious global threat. Yet we've continued to allow China to buy U.S. companies that have sensitive data and to operate other companies that collect it. Now comes word that China is trying to genetically engineer a force of superhuman soldiers. Congressman Scott Perry of Pennsylvania has been looking at the Chinese threat. It's been reported that China has conducted tests on soldiers to develop soldiers with some kind of enhanced biological capabilities. What do you know about that?
Let me be clear. It's because of the things that they are saying and doing that leads us to believe, because they're saying so, that they literally want to create super soldiers and almost like the superhuman race. All their rhetoric says that they're moving into this area and they consider it a new area of warfare. And the American people need to, and policymakers need to understand this doctrine of unrestricted warfare. Everything's on the table. So they literally have said that we as China shouldn't have to abide by treaties and all these international doctrines that prohibit this kind of thing. So we're talking about superhuman soldiers. And something else that's very chilling, especially during this pandemic, where they would literally create ethno-bioweapons, right? So literally talking about clearing out everybody across the continent of the United States who's not of Chinese or Asian origin. And the ability to do that.
Is China collecting DNA in mass quantities?
Collecting every bit of DNA across the globe. So, for instance, just for example, in I believe it's Morocco, they're providing the vaccinations for Morocco for the COVID virus, or the China virus is what it really should be called, but they're providing it. In return, Moroccans must give their DNA. And it's a one-way street. So not only do they do things like that, but they've bought up the largest DNA banks in the United States of America. China owns them.
What are the U.S. DNA genetic banks or DNA banks, and how were they allowed to purchase them?
Well, there's no prohibition. So most of these banks are, and I don't want to name certain companies.
Talking about popular websites where people have their genes analyzed?
Sure, and those are open for purchase because they're, you freely gave your DNA as a condition of wanting to find out your ancestry, or you gave it otherwise, and now it's owned by them. And they can sell that information, and they have done that, and China has bought it. So there's no prohibition on that.
Are there good diplomatic reasons why we don't want to be that tough on China? Is there fear that things could come back harder against us? Is that the argument?
The argument seems to be that we're economically tied too closely, and you can't decouple either at all or even a little bit. And quite honestly, that argument just comports to greed, right? We're using literally the solar panels on your home or your neighbor's home are probably made by slave labor and slave child labor, either in China or mining out the materials by slave children in Africa through China. I mean, these are the things that we have to come to terms with. The Chinese Communist Party has what we would currently configure or describe as concentration camps. They perform unauthorized organ harvesting. I mean, these are horrific things, and we're doing business with them, and we're saying that it's diplomatically difficult to decouple because there's too much money involved.
And then I don't know if you know about this, but it struck me that President Trump had talked about TikTok,
right,
which is China-owned,
right,
was to be sold.
Yes.
Whatever happened to that?
So there was a deal that was made, and I think it was going to go through, in which we or some Western powers would have control over the data and so on and so forth. Now, I'm sure China didn't like that, but they just they kept on playing it out. And as far as I understand now, that deal is over, and TikTok is going to remain in the United States, getting your facial recognition information to be used on a system of social credits that China uses in China that will then be instituted in the United States, not necessarily by the government, but by big corporations like the big tech companies or airlines or whoever, who says you can't fly unless you comply with this and this way. It doesn't have to necessarily be the government, but it can be pseudo things that are supported by the government that are so integral to society. It absolutely strips of our freedom, and we're allowing it in TikTok being here.
Perry has introduced legislation to label the Chinese Communist Party a transnational criminal organization. No action has been taken on it. Coming up on Full Measure, recognizing 2 whistleblowers who exposed fraud and disclosed financial wrongdoings. Two whistleblowers we profiled on Full Measure have received nominations for a prestigious award for exposing fraud. Marcel Reed and Michael McRae blew the whistle on fraud inside the community activist group Acorn, as we reported in this story in 2019.
But for all its good, Acorn had a dark side. It was exposed when Reed was elected to Acorn's national board and discovered embezzlement and cover-up. She turned to McRae, an attorney and accountant, to help figure it out.
We were literally finding hundreds of accounts, hundreds of organizations, and people, board members, our friends, their names were on documents that they didn't know anything about.
The fact that Acorn wasn't one group, but many organizations, made figuring out the embezzlement all the more difficult.
Who are we? There was a board meeting in New Orleans where there was a presentation about the embezzlement, and it seemed like every other meeting they would come back and report that there was more money missing. You know, it was just under $1 million when we walked in. By lunchtime, it was, well, we found another 500,000. By dinner time, it was up to, we reached the second million.
What was the Acorn 8?
Those were the 8 members of the board who refused to let the embezzlement and mismanagement and malfeasance, if indeed that's what it was, go by. So it was the most organized resistance, but they forget they had trained us.
Right.
And they were startled and thought that it had to be some outside influence. Someone had to be funding us or whatever. No one funded us.
But this was Acorn board members doing what we were trained to do. This was Acorn
board members doing, yeah. We were not going to stand down and allow you to destroy it and all the good work without a good heave-ho. And we gave them a good heave-ho, and they're shocked. But we're organizers.
Now Reed and McRae, along with their colleague Karen Inman, have been nominated for the Sentinel Award from the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. The recognition is given to people who, without regard to personal or professional consequences, publicly disclose wrongdoing in business or government. Next on Full Measure, an inspiring story on success and strength from one immigrant community. Coming up next week on Full Measure, you might be surprised to learn who discovered more alleged sex trafficking orchestrated by mogul Jeffrey Epstein 13 years after his first arrest, the U.S. Marshals Service.
Our investigators from the Sex Offender Investigations Branch received information that Epstein was seen at Tarmac in Florida with young girls.
Next week on Full Measure, a fascinating look into allegations of rampant sex trafficking in the U.S. from Epstein to Hollywood. Finally today, we are off to West Texas, where Scott Thuman finds an inspiring and unexpected story about immigration.
In the heart of oil country, where cattle and cowboy hats still are the staple, that Texas twang is interrupted by an altogether different sound. In this tiny town, population under 8,000, nearly half the people are Mennonites, speaking in low German and standing out from the typical Texas crowd. Just how they became a farming and business force in the Lone Star State is a story itself. For centuries, Christian Mennonites faced persecution, forcing them from country to country. In the 1970s, 500 Mennonite families who fled Europe, landing in Mexico, eventually aimed for their own slice of independence in America and started buying property, since back then owning land equaled a pathway to citizenship. But due to a series of unscrupulous land deals and technicalities over water rights, all were slated for deportation. Until a couple members of Congress got involved, the media swarmed and took this picture, an 8-year-old girl next to her friend praying for the chance to stay.
This is it right here?
This is it. And that's taken by the Albuquerque newspaper.
Tina Siemens was in that photo.
So this picture of the two of you praying goes, if it were a word back then, it goes viral.
It does, it does. And look the title of it. Promised Land That Didn't Deliver.
Though eventually it did. In 1981, Congress wrote and passed a bill listing every member of the community by name, granting permanent residence, and President Carter, with an affection for fellow farmers, signed it. Today, there's still a separation that's not hard to hear.
He marched off. Oh, yeah.
While Mennonite families here own a large portion of building and farming businesses, many stay to themselves in their own schools, stores, restaurants, and churches.
What do you think of the traditional Texans?
Oh, I love Texas. This is my home here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here for so long, I definitely wouldn't want to go anywhere else.
John Belcher is the mayor of Seminole.
There's not very many places, I don't think, in the country that people really have a desire, that bring the kind of work ethic and the kind of desire to achieve the American dream as they do here. They just want to get here to this country, which I agree with them is fantastic, and work. And then 5, 10 years down the road, they have a beautiful house, they have a barn, they have some land.
Tina is now a progressive Mennonite, less traditional, but has spent her days spreading their story, and just recently delivering her book, Seminole, Some People Never Give Up, to the man who made sure they didn't, President Carter.
What is the message out of all of this?
I would like for America to repeat the story that happened here over and over again. Make a pathway to get legal immigration, but make it to where if it's just handed to them, the meaning isn't there. We worked for our status here, and I think that is why it's so valuable. You will not find a more grateful American than me and my family, because we just cherish the opportunity.
For Full Measure, I'm Scott Thuman, Seminole, Texas.
And thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.